everybody, Cinema Sick this year with this week's Weekly Watch, where we take a look at all the titles I've watched throughout the week, and I briefly discuss them. And this year marks week 2 of my Merry Movie Marathon, where I watched nothing but holiday-related titles from Thanksgiving to New Year's. Watched a lot of great stuff this week, so let's take a look at what I checked out. So the first title I watched this week is one that I definitely consider to be a new holiday classic, and that was Arthur Christmas. Now, there's a definite shame about this movie, and that's the fact that perhaps you and I know this movie very well. I'm sure many diehard fans of movies know what this film is, have seen this film, most likely love this film, so I'm sure a lot of you have seen this and absolutely love it. But the shame is the fact that I think a lot of regular people out there, people who have heard of A Christmas Story, who've heard of Elf, who've heard of the Santa Claus, and love those films, probably haven't seen Arthur Christmas. It just sort of fell under the radar, I felt. Again, a lot of movie fans really enjoyed it, but I think just the average moviegoer kind of missed this one. And that's a shame, because this here is such a fantastic movie. Like I said, a definite new Christmas classic. I love everything about this. The story is fantastic. It's about kind of sort of all the Santa Clauses throughout the ages. Santa Claus isn't one guy, it's a family basically. A father has a son, passes it on and whatnot, while the current Santa Claus has 2 sons. The Santa who you think should be in charge ends up not becoming in charge. And spoiler alert, Arthur, obviously, if you don't see that coming, you're kind of blind, but Arthur ends up becoming the Santa Claus. And it's just a kind of about this, it's sort of like an underdog story where Arthur has such a hardcore passion for Christmas, where all the other Santa Clauses have kind of lost their way, just kind of are just doing things just because, well, this is how things go, and they all have their own little new ways of doing stuff, and just they're kind of missing the whole Christmas spirit, whereas Arthur he is Christmas. He loves Christmas. He loves Santa Claus. Everything about Christmas he absolutely loves, and he goes through this huge effort just to get one toy that happened to be missed, a toy for a little girl who unfortunately the toy got left behind. He goes through this crazy mission to get it back to her. And in the end, everybody realizes he's the one who should be Santa. And even though I know the end, I know what's coming, I know the fact that he's going to become Santa at the end, I do tear up a little bit. I do get choked up a little bit when his father, says maybe it should be Christmas. And even his brother goes, his brother who really, 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 really wants to be a new Santa Claus all throughout the movie, who's just so into wanting to be Santa Claus, also realizes that, yeah, Arthur should be the one. He should be the new Santa Claus. It's the right thing to do, and it's just such a great film all around. Again, a modern day, I wouldn't even say a modern day, just a new Christmas classic, one that everybody should check out. I've been watching this one every year since last year. So last 2 years, I've checked this movie out during the holiday season, and I will most likely watch this one every single year because it's that good. This is one of my all-time favorite Christmas movies now. It's absolutely brilliant. I highly recommend checking this out if it's one of those movies that happen to fall on your radar, as I'm sure it did for many people, unfortunately. This is one you must check out. If you're a fan of Christmas movies, this you gotta see. Then the next 2 Christmas titles I watched, yes, 2 because they both come on this Turner Classic Movies Great Classic Films Collection holiday. And that was It Happened on 5th Avenue and The Shop Around the Corner. Now, first up is It Happened on 5th Avenue, which really isn't all that much of a Christmas story. It just takes place during kind of around the holiday season. It really ends on New Year's Day, and it was decent, a bit long. It's 2 hours long, and it wasn't anything all that amazing. It was enjoyable. I liked it, but I wasn't blown away by it. Again, it felt really, really long. I think it should have only been maybe like an hour and a half. 2 hours was definitely stretching it out. There was a lot going on between the love interest of basically our 2 main characters, and then the female love interest. Her parents had this kind of thing where they were split up. They weren't, I don't think they were divorced, but they were split up, and they were getting back together. Then you have another guy who's this homeless guy who ends up living in this house, and they all end up living in this house, which ends up being the house of the female love interest's father, who again is getting back with the mother. Crazy, weird story. I'm not going to get into it. There's so much going on. There's like 100 different plots in this movie, and it was just alright. Again, I wasn't blown away, even though this is a holiday set. It's not really a Christmas title. It's just it's one of those films that kind of just takes place during Christmas. It's like if this set had Die Hard in it. You know what I mean? Like, Die Hard's not really a Christmas movie. It just takes place during Christmas. You can watch it at Christmas time. It certainly counts as a Merry Movie Marathon title, but it's not necessarily a Christmas movie, so it's okay. Would I recommend it? I'd say really only if you want to see it. If it's something you've been thinking about checking out, it is worth seeing. It wasn't bad. I love the characters in it, especially our main sort of like homeless character, or drifter, who is staying in this one house. I like him. He's a great character. So all in all, it's just all right. Can't really recommend it all that much. Again, it is a bit too long. At 2 hours, it seems like they stretch it out way too long. But with 100 different plots going on, I guess what do you expect? And then next up was The Shop Around the Corner. Now, this one I really enjoyed, and I'm a big fan of Jimmy Stewart, so of course I was going to like this one, but really good. It had very, I gotta say, You've Got Mail definitely ripped this movie off. After watching this, I was like, wow, now I know where they got the entire plot from You Got Mail, which is another movie I really do like. In fact, I like that more than Sleepless in Seattle. A lot of people don't agree with me on that one, but I do. Anyway, so this was a great story all about Jimmy Stewart and this love interest, and they're pen pals, and they're writing with each other, and lo and behold, the girl he's writing to, they've never met, they don't know each other, ends up working at this department store he works at. They bicker, they fight, they argue, they're not a big fan of each other, and in the end they find out, oh, we're the pen pals who are actually in love with each other. It's a fun story. I really enjoyed it, love the hell of it. I will definitely be watching this one again. It was a great, great movie. Though again, not necessarily a Christmas movie, just a movie that takes place during the Christmas season, but it's not actually a Christmas movie per se. But still, it was definitely enjoyable. If you're also a Jimmy Stewart fan like I am, it's definitely worth checking out. He's great in it. Though he does this really, I posted it on Instagram, he does this really creepy look at one point where he's basically, he tells his boss asks his opinion on this cigar box that plays music, and basically Jimmy Stewart flat out says, no, that's a horrible, horrible idea. His boss ends up asking, I'm trying to think if it's, I can't remember if it's the love interest or if it's another lady or whatnot, but his boss ends up asking somebody else what they think of it, and they start kind of bad-mouthing it somewhat too, and Jimmy Stewart's kind of like, yes, see? But he has this thing where he's putting stuff away on a shelf, and he turns around, he's like he has this creepy look on his face. Like, I knew what he was going for. He was going for that, kind of a smug look. He didn't pull it off very well. It looked creepy. It looked like he was about to murder everybody. I paused my TV and took a snapshot and put up on Instagram because, man, it was creepy. It's also up on cinemasixes.com too. It's just such a creepy photo. Check it out if you get a chance. It was disturbing. He looks like a serial killer. It looks like I took a picture of from a horror movie, not from a a classic holiday title. But again, it was great. I really enjoyed it. If you've seen You've Got Mail and you like that movie, you might like this one because I definitely think that movie completely ripped this one off for the most part. But again, it's a great film. Definitely recommend checking it out. I really enjoy The Shop Around the Corner. But again, it happened on Fifth Avenue. That one was just mediocre. Next, I checked out All I Want for Christmas, which is a movie I've been meaning to watch for some time now. It's been on my wish list for a little while, so when I picked it up this year, I knew this holiday season, I'd definitely be checking this one out. And mediocre. I wasn't thrilled by this one, though I know a lot of you like this movie because when I mentioned on Instagram and on Facebook that I was watching this, I got a lot of positive feedback. A lot of you guys were really excited that I was checking this movie out. And I can see if this was a movie you grew up with, I can understand liking it. But unfortunately, this was not a movie I grew up with. It was from around the time period where I could have grown up with it, but this one definitely went on my radar when I was younger. I definitely missed out on this film. I did not grow up with it, so not really a film I appreciate all that much. Now, that's not to say that I have to grow up with a Christmas movie to enjoy it. No. Many movies out there that I didn't grow up with that I really, really like, but this one, I just wasn't thrilled with it. I just thought it was okay. It's really just about a boy and a girl trying to get their parents back together. It's all right. It's just decent. It's mediocre. Not blown away by it, but I didn't hate it. I just kind of, after I watched it, went, all right, I saw it, and will I be watching again? I don't know. Not necessarily. I don't really have any desire to watch this one anytime again soon. Maybe like years down the line, I'll pop this one in again. Maybe I'll watch it with my kid. I could see that. I could see watching this movie with my kid. But all in all, I just wasn't all that blown away by it. Also, I like the fact that, well, I should say like, but I'm saying that kind of sarcastically, the parents getting back together thing at the end of the movie, I think it gives kids like some false hope. A lot of kids out there have parents who are divorced, and the idea of watching this movie and the parents are going to get back together just sort of makes, I think it's kind of gives kids a false hope because I don't think a lot of parents do get back together. So I don't know, but all in all, it was just mediocre, and this artwork definitely just does not represent the movie at all. It shows Leslie Nielsen here, who does play Santa Claus in the movie, but he's basically like a cameo in the movie. He doesn't play any major part, just a cameo Santa Claus. But as you look here, you know, they got him all wrapped up in garland, upside down. He's all hanging there. It looks like kind of like this funny comedy caper sort of movie where maybe the kids kidnap Santa Claus or something like that. That doesn't happen. This never happens. Horrible order, because it's really misleading. It has nothing to do with the movie whatsoever. So all in all, I would just say mediocre. Again, I know a lot of you guys out there really enjoy this one, and like I said, if you grew up with it, I can understand why you would like it, because it wasn't a bad movie, but I didn't think it was all that great. So when I say check it out, sure, if this is a movie you've been thinking about seeing, it is worth checking out. Like I said, it wasn't a bad movie. I just thought it was mediocre. I wasn't blown away by it. It was just okay. But if you've been thinking about checking it out, sure, see it. Now the next title I watched, this was awesome, and that was A Cadaver Christmas. Now, I was not expecting very much from this. I thought this is going to be some kind of B-grade movie. It's just probably going to be just cheesy, not all that good, you know. But you know, I like cheesy, so I was hoping for something nice. But I wasn't really expecting all that much from it, because it's just a movie I've never heard of. I just thought, you know, who knows? Maybe it'll be all right, maybe it won't. It's also a newer film, so that kind of, you know, had it been from the 80s or maybe early 90s, I would have been like, all right, it's going to be cheesy, but it's going to be probably a lot of fun. But since it was a newer movie, I thought, yeah, I don't really know. So I went into this one with kind of low expectations. I didn't go into it with high hopes. Man, was I impressed. My thoughts going into this movie were completely blown out of the water. This movie was brilliant. It's definitely a tongue-in-cheek kind of like horror comedy. They're definitely making fun of like cheeseball 80s horror movies, and they do such a good job at it. It's cheesy, but just the right amount of cheese. They don't ham it up too much. I mean, there may be like one or two lines where I'm like, all right, that was a bit over the top, but for the most part, they do a really good job. Almost kind of like Shaun of the Dead, where they don't ham it up too much. They make it. It's just funny. They're paying homage to a genre of film, but they don't go over the top where it's just like, all right, this is really cheesy. Okay, we get it. You're making fun of that genre. Ha ha ha. You know, no. They keep it at a great level where they make it look really cheesy. The acting's bad, the dialogue's bad, but they do it right. They do it so it feels almost like you're watching a cheesy horror movie from the 80s, but you're not. You know you're not. You don't necessarily, you're not watching it definitely thinking, oh, is this from the 80s? No, but you see what they're getting at, and they do a really good job at it. I love the way they also put a great filter on the movie, almost like Grindhouse did, where everything's kind of like washed out, and there's like scratches on the throughout the whole movie. You know, little pops and hisses, everything like that. It felt like you were watching like an actual film reel, and just great. I can't get. This is another one I'll probably watch every year now. This was absolutely brilliant. If you love just classic cheeseball 80s horror slasher films, this is one you have to check out, although it's not really a slasher film per se. It's actually about a bunch of cadavers who come back to life. Long story, but they basically a zombie movie, but great. Or if you watch this movie, you will no longer call them zombies. You're going to be screaming. Every time somebody says zombie, you're going to start screaming cadaver, and you'll understand what I mean if you've seen this movie. It's just great. I can't say that enough. This movie was brilliant. It's such a fun movie that, again, it doesn't go too over the top. They do a great job of just paying tribute to a classic series of horror movies from the 80s. So this is one you have to check out. It's horror, it's Christmas, it's comedy, it's everything. It's great. Definitely watch this one every year. I recommend picking this one up, watching it every year. You'll love it. If you're into horror movies, if you just love B cheeseball horror movies, this is one you have to see. Then I checked out Christmas in July on Beta. Yes, good old Beta. Love it. And another Christmas movie that really isn't a Christmas movie. This movie actually takes place in July. So, I don't know if I can really call this one a Christmas movie. I mean, it's got Christmas in the title, so I guess kind of it counts. I didn't know what to expect when I went into this one. Hadn't heard anything about it, so I didn't know, was it a Christmas movie? Was it not a Christmas movie? I didn't know, and as it turns out, not really, not so much a Christmas film, but it was still a decent watch. All about this guy and this girl, and the guy wants to win this contest where he basically kind of writes in, it's like an ad campaign contest where he has to make basically a slogan for this company, his coffee company. He makes this kind of not very good slogan, and his friends at work play a trick on it where they make it look like they send him a Western Union telegram, and they make it look like he won the contest. And he ends up going to the office of where the contest is being held and showing him the telegram, and the boss thinks, oh, well, you must have won. The committee, who's having a hard time deciding who won, must not have told me, but sent you the telegram. So here's the check. He goes on this big spending spree. Everything, shit kind of hits the fan, because eventually the guy who's in charge of the contest finds out that nobody ever sent him a Western Union telegram. Nobody, they haven't picked a winner yet. So he finds out that he basically thinks the guy scammed him. He wants to arrest him and everything like that. And then the friends come clean and say, oh, we played this joke on him. And it's a good movie. I really enjoy this one. I was gonna say great movie. I don't know if it was a great movie, but it was a good movie. I would recommend checking it out. It was fun. I love the idea of just these people playing a practical joke on their friend and it getting way out of hand. But of course, happy ending in the end. So definitely recommend checking this one out. It's nothing special, but it was a fun watch. Then the next two movies I checked out were Happy Feet and Happy Feet 2. Now, Happy Feet, I think that's just an alright movie. I was never blown away by this film. I know it won, like, I think, what does it say? Academy Award winner, Best Animated Film of 2006, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the same year Monster House came out. I remember being really disappointed that this movie won Best Animated Film over Monster House, because Monster House is one of my all-time favorite CGI animated movies. It's brilliant. It's really, really good. Another movie that went under the radar, unfortunately. That and Arthur Christmas. Two movies you should check out. But Happy Feet, I just thought was okay. The story's alright. I wasn't, it's not a movie I'm blown away by. It's enjoyable. I like the movie. I think it has a decent story, decent characters, way too much singing. It's it's almost like Glee with animated penguins, kind of. They're just constantly singing popular pop songs, and that kind of gets old pretty fast. But, it's just okay. Again, Happy Feet is not an amazing movie by any means. At least that's what I think. I know a lot of people probably disagree. A lot of people really like this movie. Personally, I just think it's okay. It's just an alright CGI animated movie. So I recommend checking it out. I would. If you're a fan of CGI animated films, this is one to see. It was decent. It's just not anything amazing, if you ask me. I could name about 100 better CGI animated movies, but all in all, it is still decent and worth a watch. I don't have much to say about it. It's just okay. Now, for the first time this year, I watched Happy Feet 2. And this I actually liked a bit more for, I'd say, two reasons. One, not as much singing in this one. There certainly is singing. Of course, they do, cover some pop songs in here. But unlike Happy Feet, where every, 4 seconds they're covering some damn pop song that gets really annoying, not so much in this one. There's large breaks in between songs. I like that. So I would recommend this movie a little bit over this one. I thought the story was a little bit better too, which is the penguins having to save, just basically a couple penguins having to save all the penguins because they get trapped in ice, and a decent story. I actually enjoy this one a little bit more than this one. Not a lot more. I'm not saying it's amazing, but it was a little bit better. Personally, that's what I feel. Although I did have to put up with Pink's voice. I don't know. There's something about Pink that I'm just not a big fan of. And unfortunately, Brittany Murphy does the main voice of her female love interest penguin in this movie. Obviously, Brittany Murphy passed away, so Pink took over. And I'm just not a big fan of Pink. I mean, she can sing really well, but there's something about her voice. It just rubs me the wrong way. So, unfortunately, listening to her sing and even talk, I don't know. I can't stand her voice even when she's talking. So, unfortunately, I had to put up with her. But all in all, again, a decent movie. So I recommend checking both of these out. Yes, I would. Obviously, see Happy Feet before you see Happy Feet 2, but I'd recommend checking them both out. Decent movie, a little bit better of a movie. Both pretty decent. I wouldn't say either of these movies are anything amazing, but they are a fun watch. If you're a fan of CGI animated films, check them out. Though there is one major issue with these that really bugged me when watching Happy Feet 2. I wish I was watching Halloween 2. And that is, our main character, our Mumbles character, or our Happy Feet Penguin character, who's a little kid in this one, grows up. At the end of this movie, he's starting to lose his fuzz. His fuzz is going away. Some of the the yellow is starting to show through. He's definitely losing his fluff that he has throughout the whole movie. In Happy Feet 2, it's all back again. His fluff's all back. He's no longer losing his feathers and gaining his yellow feathers. It's all back. So definitely a huge continuity error, if you ask me. I can't believe they fucked that up. And I guess I probably wouldn't even have noticed I not watched them back to back. But since I watched these both back to back, I immediately noticed. As soon as this movie started up, I went, "What happened to his feathers?" So I don't know. They really fucked up. They dropped the ball on that one. But again, would I recommend checking these out? I'd say if you're a fan of CGI animated movies, they're certainly worth a watch. And then the last title I checked out this week was Shelley Duvall's Bedtime Stories: The Christmas Witch. This was alright. There's not really much to say about this one. Shelley Duvall's Bedtime Stories, it kind of reminiscent of Reading Rainbow, sort of, but all it is basically just Shelley Duvall, you go into her bedroom, she's about to go to sleep, and she's basically going to tell you a bedtime story. She kind of introduces the story, and then we go into it. She doesn't narrate or anything like that. This one's actually narrated by Angela Lansbury, which is pretty cool. But it's all just animated. You're basically watching a cartoon based around a book. And I like that because I'm a big fan of animation. This has great early 90s animation in it. The stories, they're usually pretty decent as they're based around children's books. I have nothing wrong with children's books. They're usually fun stories. They're kiddie, but they're usually fun and enjoyable. And again, great classic animation. So, not a lot to say about this. The story was just okay. It's about a witch who decides she doesn't really want to be bad anymore and helps goes to this other world and helps these two battling, there's two groups of people who are battling each other, and she basically throws a Christmas party to bring them all together, and the bad witches try to stop it, and in the end, everything works out, and the witches all become good witches, with the exception of the mean bad witch who turns into a mouse. That's it. It's just okay. Am I gonna recommend it? I guess I can't say this is anything bad, but I can't say if there's anything good. It's just okay. This is not going to be for everybody. If it sounds like your thing, if you're just if you're a big fan of animation like I am, Shelley Duvall's Bedtime Stories, it's something to check out. Even this one or any one, there's something to check out. If you're just an average fan of animation, if you're not a fan of animation, there's really no other reason to watch this. Because, again, the stories are just okay. It's not like Shelley Duvall plays this big part either. It's just an okay series, but the animation is what really draws me to it. So I recommend this one? Sure. Would I recommend any of Shelley Duvall's Bedtime Stories? Yes, but really only if you're a big animation fan. So there you go, guys. That's everything I checked out this week. Definitely another great week of my Merry Movie Marathon. Really enjoying this. Definitely looking forward to the next few weeks where, again, I'm watching nothing but holiday-related titles from Thanksgiving to New Year's Day. Loving it. So like I always say, guys, if you like this video, please give me a like. If you're not already saw it, please do. And if you're not already over at cinemasickness.com, head over there. Click on the shop tab, purchase yourself a Cinema Sickness sticker or a Cinema Sickness button, and I'd really appreciate it. So, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.